Okay, as I was saying, so this webinar is an advanced webinar in which I will be showing to you some new functionality that has been developed and released in the last year or so. So this is not an introduction to protocols.io, and therefore I will be assuming some familiarity with the platform. But in a few slides, I will be sharing with you some links where you can find other more basic webinars if you are just starting to get your toes wet with protocols.io. As I mentioned previously, the presentation is a live demo, so I don't really have slides to share, but the recording will be shared with all registered participants. So we will start with some housekeeping information. I will tell you about the most recent developments in protocols.io, which includes a AI-powered tool for you to import into protocols.io existing protocols in any formats, like Word documents or PDFs. Then I will do a demo of a modification that we made to our run functionality that allows you to share a run with other users, or in other words, allows you to run a protocol collaboratively and save a single record of that experiment. And building on this, I will also show to you our task manager, which is a collaborative calendar view for your team to distribute work among its members. Protocols, like experiments, are not always run by a single person. But if you need to hand over the protocol running to somebody else because either you are sick or you go on vacation, or just because you share non-overlapping expertise with other members of the team, you can plan ahead and use the task manager to distribute that work. And finally, I will demo new functionality in the editor. I will show you a preview option for Excel files and a pretty neat multi-well plate component. And then we will have time for questions. But before we begin with the content of the presentation itself, I would like to acknowledge that our main office is located in Berkeley, California, the ancestral and unceded land of the Ohlone people. We recognize that we have benefited from the use and occupation of this land, and consistent with our values of diversity, equity, and inclusion, we have a responsibility to acknowledge this fact. We also recognize that the Ohlone people are alive and flourishing members of the Berkeley and broader Bay Area communities today. So let's also get the housekeeping information out of the way. As I mentioned before, the presentation is being recorded and the video will be shared with all registrants. Closed captioning has been enabled, so feel free to turn it on if you want to use it. And although we will be reserving some time at the end for questions, feel free to start typing them as soon as they come to you, either in the chat or in the Q&A windows of Zoom. Also, as previously mentioned, in case you are not an advanced user, I want to point out that the platform is really intuitive, and the best way to familiarize yourself with the many different functionalities is just to log in and play with it. However, we also have a series of resources that you can browse for more information. These resources can be found in the two URLs that I show at the bottom of this slide. The first one will take you to our regularly scheduled webinars. That includes every month a basic one, And the last URL will take you to a link to request a one-to-one demo, in which you will be able to discuss any question that you might have with one of our team members, and they can show their screen, you can show your screen, and have a very interactive conversation. So to begin with, I'm gonna now transition out of the slides and into my own personal account in protocols.io, which is what you see now on the screen. Just to orient ourselves, to the left-hand side, what you see scrolling up and down, these are the workspaces, the collaborative units where colleagues come together to jointly, collaboratively develop protocols before publishing them. Each workspace has a file manager that organizes and displays all the protocols within that workspace. But we are going to be using my own personal workspace, the one that I use for demos. As you can see, I have organized all my documents in several folders, and I have some loose protocols. And we're going to be using this folder that I created specifically for this demonstration. You can see here that I have already some few protocols and a run record. And we will get to that later on during my presentation. But the first thing that I want to show you is the new tool, AI-powered tool, that we developed, our developers created, for you to easily transform into the format of protocols.io existing protocols in PDF or in Word format or text file. So I'm going to minimize my window. So you can see here my protocols.io account. And here you see my hard drive in which I have a series of protocols in different formats. I have a text file, I have a PDF, I have a couple of Word documents. I'm just going to open one of these for you to see. You see here, this is a protocol that has a title, an abstract, and a few steps organized into sections. As you probably know, you can bring all these protocols very quickly into the platform as a way to centralize all your method-related documents just by dragging them into your selected folder. Now the protocols are being copied. I apologize. It seems that my internet connection is a little bit slow today. But okay, now all the protocols have been copied. I'm going to reload. And you can see here all the protocols copied. In this way, I'm centralizing my protocols, and I am immediately sharing these documents with all the members of the workspace. But these are documents in their original format, so they don't have the functionality of protocols.io. They cannot be run, they don't accept comments, and I cannot edit them directly in the platform. So if I double click to any of these, the PDF or the Word document, I will be prompted to download the document. I cannot edit those documents directly in the platform. You'll see, I will have to download the PDF. But now we have a pretty easy, pretty neat tool for you to transform any of these documents into a protocol. So I select, just for demonstration purposes, I will select this short protocol. And as soon as I highlight any of these documents, there is the option for me to create a new protocol from this file. Let me make the screen bigger so you can read. So I highlight the protocol that I want to transform, or the document that I want to transform into a protocol. and then I create a new protocol from this file. I agree to the use of OpenAI, and I have to mention here that your documents will not be used to train the algorithm. So they will always remain private. So you highlight the document, you select create a new protocol from this file, and then you convert that protocol, that document into a protocol. This is going to take a couple of minutes. So let's just wait. And now the protocol has been created from this Word document. I can go and view the protocol. And you will see that the functionality created the protocol with a title, the abstract, and the two sections. So it's a pretty neat tool. It's not a perfect tool, so you will have to double check that everything is precise, but it's very quick. So you can get all your protocols that you already might have as PDFs or Word documents in a few minutes into protocols.io as a dynamic and interactive protocol. Now, because this is now a protocol, it can be run from the computer or tablet. You knew that already. It has been discussed in previous webinars. But now I want to show you how you can do that in collaboration. So I can take this protocol that I just showed you and click the Run button. So wait, I take this protocol. Let me reload it. Okay, I highlight this protocol, and now I can run it. So I select the run functionality. And as soon as I click the run button, a run record file is created. I have to select in what folder I'm going to save that run record. And I'm going to choose the folder that I created for this demonstration. And then I start the run. I can also save the run, the empty file, and resume it later. But let's start the experiment today. I can add an experimental ID to this specific run, and then I can start going through my protocol, marking every step as I complete them. Let's say that this is a 2-day experiment and I finish section 1, but I want somebody else to finish section 2 on the following day. I can pause this protocol at this point, just close the file, and you will see that an incomplete run record has been created. If I open that file, it is the one that we just run. And now I can share it with the colleague who I want to finish the experiment. I can do that from the run record itself, or I can do that from the file manager. If I do it from the run record itself, I can select these 3 dots, and I can share this protocol with one of the colleagues that are members of the workspace. I'm going to save it with this colleague. I add a collaborator. I have to allow my collaborator to edit the protocol to be able to finish the experiment. And then I save it. Now, Alberto is going to receive a notification saying that a run record has been shared with him, and he can come the next day open that run record that I showed you here before and finalize the experiment. I can also share it from the file manager, so I can select the run record that is incomplete, share it, and add more collaborators. Now, if I were Alberto, again, I will come, double click on the file and finish the experiment on the next day. There is a completed run record here that I run previously as well with a collaborator. And if I double click on this run record, you will see that it has been completed. And in the history, I can see who did what. So I can see that from steps 17 to steps 5 were run by Alberto, and from steps 4 to step 1, it was I who run that. It's clearly indicated in the run record. So this is a new development that allows you to collaboratively run a protocol. Now, building on this, we have improved our task manager, which is the calendar view of collaboratively running protocols. So every workspace comes with tasks. So I can select tasks that will take me to the task manager, and I can see the list of my tasks, or I can see it in a calendar view. So you see here, this is the month of February, and I have a couple of tasks already. I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller so you can see the full calendar. So there's one experiment that I run on a previous week. There is an experiment in progress for this week, and I can start an experiment today, or I can start planning for an experiment later on this week. So let's do that together. So I can create a new task. I can add a name to the task. I'll call it experiment 2. Sorry. It's going to be open. Let's say today is Monday. Let's start this experiment on Wednesday, the 12th. And it's an experiment that is going to last. I can change here. Let's say it's an experiment that is going to last 3 days. So I mark 3, that's 3 days. And you can choose as well as due date. You can change the color. I'm going to say color pink. Now I can save my task. And if I go back, I will see that this task as experiment 2 was created. It's a 3-day experiment starting on Wednesday. I can see that in the list, and I can choose between seeing only the protocols that are open or in progress or closed. And I can see the same in the calendar. So right now I'm just seeing the protocols that have been closed. I'm going to see the protocols that are open, which is the one that I just created, or all of them. I'm going to double click on experiment 2. And now you can start adding collaborators to this experiment. So I'm going to add Lenny as collaborator, and I'm going to add Alberto as a collaborator. And I can also start adding protocols to this experiment. So let's use the protocol that we just created. So I'm going to use this protocol. I'm going to change the name here just to make it more discoverable. That's it. I added a GG at the beginning. You see that I added a GG here. And now I'm going to start searching for protocols to add. I'm going to search for my protocol that is called GG. Now I can add my protocol to my experiment. You might recall that the protocol has 10 steps divided into sections. Now in the task manager, I'm going to delete this too. I can add assignees to that protocol for that experiment. And I can say Alberto is going to do steps 1 to 8. And Lenny is going to do experiments from 9 to 10. So I distributed the work of this protocol in this experiment between Alberto and Lenny. Now I can go back and I see that just the open experiment, experiment 2, which is the one that we created today, starts on February the 12th. It lasts 3 days, and Alberto and Lenny are going to be taking care of that experiment by performing the specific protocol. But you can add more than one protocol to the task. So I can add a second protocol. Let's go back and search for another protocol to add. Again, I'm going to open my file manager. Let's add this experiment 2 or this protocol 2. So I can add protocol 2, Excel. Oh. So I select the name here. And now I can select this other protocol, and I can add myself to do that. So I'm going to add myself as another member of the team that is going to do experiments here. And I'm going to do the whole experiment myself. Right, so I added 2 protocols to this experiment to be run on 3 days starting Wednesday. So this is the task manager. Now I'm going to go back to the file manager, and I'm going to show you 2 pretty neat functionalities that we have developed specifically for the editor. So I'm going to open this protocol to Excel. This is just a demo protocol. But what I want to show you is that now you can preview the Excel files. So going back to my folder, there is an Excel file here. I'm going to open it for you. So I created an Excel file that I can insert to any step by just dragging it. And now I can preview the Excel file. You cannot edit the Excel file directly in the editor. You will have to download it, edit it, and then re-upload it. But you can preview the Excel file, and it also works from the run. So if I decide to run protocol 2 that has the Excel file, you can also preview that Excel file during the run. So if you add a table that contains a recipe to make a buffer, you can preview it, prepare your buffer, and go back to the run. And we have also developed a multi-well plate functionality. So I'm going to insert a multi-well plate here. That has to be done from the, I'm going to maximize it, from the components. So I select components. I select well plate map. And I can choose from popular formats of the multi-well plate, or I can customize my own. But if I select a 96 well plate, and then I create it, you can see it here. And I can customize it. I can color code let's say my columns of different colors. So I select yellow and pink. They have been color coded. I can also change the color of individual wells. I can add text. I can go here and change this color to a different color individually and keep adding text. You can also import the values from an Excel table. So if you have created a template for your multi-well plate in Excel, which I have already, and you can see it here, this case is a 12-well plate. I can import this template into my multi-well plate by using the same functionality. So I select components, well plate map, import from Excel, search from my file, and the 12-well plate has been created from the template that I generated in Excel. And again, I can color code. Sorry. I can select different colors. Oh. Like this. I can select different colors. So I added different colors, and because it was is empty, I can just change the color of this one to be blank. Here. So these are some of the new, I can't show you everything that we have developed in the last year or so, but we believe that these are useful new functionality that can be of use right away for you in case you were not familiar. So I don't have anything else to show to you today. I don't know if you have any questions, and I will be happy to take those. You can type those questions in the chat or in the Q&A window of Zoom. Well, I'm going to stop the recording in case somebody wants to ask a question of the record.